They smile to your face, but their soul is screaming contempt. We walk through a world of masks, of carefully constructed facades designed to hide the rot of envy and resentment that festers within. But for the man committed to truth, for the man who walks his own path, these masks are transparent. Welcome to Sigma Male Community, the one place that honors your innate need for sovereignty and provides the psychological tools to defend it. Today, we are not engaging in paranoia. We are engaging in radical awareness. We will dissect the subtle, almost invisible signs that someone in your orbit, someone who calls you a friend or a brother, secretly harbors animosity toward you. We will pull back the curtain using the profound insights of the psychologist Carl Jung, revealing the unconscious wars they wage, not against you, but against themselves, using you as the battlefield. This is about seeing the truth that lies beneath the words, the raw data of the human psyche, and using that knowledge with the calm, unshakable strength of a stoic warrior to protect your energy and your path. 1. The poisonous praise, backhanded compliment. You've felt it. It's that comment designed to sound like a compliment but lands with the sickening thud of an insult. That was a surprisingly intelligent presentation. I didn't expect that from you. Or, you clean up nicely, you almost look like a different person. The words are wrapped in the thin veneer of social acceptability, but the intention is pure poison. This is not an awkward attempt at praise. It is a meticulously crafted microaggression. It is psychological warfare disguised as a pleasantry, engineered to plant a seed of doubt and subtly diminish your accomplishment. The aggressor creates a situation of plausible deniability, allowing them to inject their venom and then feign innocence if you react. They are testing your perception, hoping the insult slides past your defenses, leaving you feeling vaguely diminished without knowing precisely why. This act is designed to chip away at your confidence, to make you question the validity of your own success by framing it as an anomaly. An exception to what they imply is your otherwise mediocre standard. The architect of this tactic is operating from a place of profound psychological deficit, and this is where the work of Carl Jung becomes indispensable. Carl Jung identified the shadow as the part of our unconscious mind that contains all the aspects of ourselves we repress and deny: our insecurities, our envy, our repressed aggression. The person delivering the backhanded compliment is engaged in a textbook shadow projection. Their own feelings of inadequacy and bitter envy, which they cannot consciously face, are projected onto you. Your success acts as a painful mirror, reflecting their own perceived failures. The praise is the flimsy mask, their persona, which is the idealized version of themselves they present to the world. But the shadow is too strong to be fully contained. Its toxic essence seeps through, lacing the compliment with poison. By subtly undermining you, they get a fleeting moment of relief from their own gnawing self-contempt. The Stoic mind understands this not as a personal attack, but as a confession. It is a clear signal of their inner poverty, and your rational response is not anger, but a calm internal reclassification of that person's role in your life. 2. Selective amnesia, boundary erosion. Observe the person who consistently and conveniently forgets the boundaries you have explicitly set. You state clearly that you need your weekends to decompress, and they are the one who always calls with a non-urgent crisis on a Saturday afternoon. You mention a food you dislike, and they repeatedly suggest the one restaurant that specializes in it. This is not a memory problem. It is a passive-aggressive power play and a direct assault on your autonomy. Each instance of "I forgot" is a calculated probe, a test to see how committed you are to your own rules. It's a subtle campaign of psychological erosion designed to wear you down until you stop asserting your boundaries altogether. They want to train you into compliance, to demonstrate through repeated action that your needs, your preferences, and your stated limits are ultimately irrelevant in the face of their own desires. It is a profound display of disrespect, a clear message that your individuality is an inconvenience to them. From a psychological standpoint, this behavior reveals a deep-seated need for control, rooted in a fear of dealing with whole, independent individuals. Carl Jung's concept of individuation, the process of becoming a distinct, integrated self, is what this person fears. Your clearly defined boundaries are a hallmark of your own individuation, a sign that you are a sovereign entity. This threatens them on an unconscious level because they are likely poorly individuated themselves, with a fragile ego that relies on enmeshment and control over others to feel secure. They seek to blur the lines between you and them, to absorb you into their world where their needs are paramount. For the Sigma male, whose very essence is defined by self-reliance and sovereignty, this is a declaration of war on your identity. The Stoic response is not frustration, but unwavering consistency. You do not get angry. You simply restate the boundary calmly and firmly as many times as necessary. Their persistent forgetfulness is merely data, confirming their lack of respect and solidifying your resolve to enforce the perimeter of your own well-being. Number 3. The success vacuum, joyless achievement. You share a significant victory, a career advancement, a creative breakthrough, the achievement of a difficult personal goal. You are filled with a sense of righteous pride and look to your friend to share in the moment. Instead of warmth, you are met with a chilling void. The air is sucked out of the room. Their response is a flat, "Oh, nice," followed by an immediate change of subject. Or worse, they may attempt to instantly diminish or one-up your achievement. "That's cool. My promotion last year came with a bigger office, though." This is the success vacuum. A true ally, a genuine friend, derives vicarious joy from your wins. Their spirit is lifted with yours. An enemy masquerading as a friend experiences your success as a personal defeat. Their silence, their indifference, their immediate pivot to their own accomplishments, it is a deafening admission of their corrosive envy. This reaction is a raw and unfiltered glimpse into their shadow, as described by Carl Jung. Your success doesn't just make them feel envious. On a deeper level, it illuminates their own sense of stagnation, failure, or cowardice. Your light casts a harsh glare on the darkest corners of their psyche, revealing the things they have failed to achieve, the risks they were too afraid to take. Their inability to celebrate with you is a defense mechanism. To acknowledge the full weight of your victory would be to acknowledge the full weight of their own perceived inadequacy. So they create an emotional vacuum, refusing to give your achievement the energy it deserves because doing so is too psychologically painful for them. For the self-aware man, this is not a moment for disappointment, but for clarity. You do not need their applause. Their hollow response is all the confirmation you require to understand the true dynamic of the relationship. It is a gift of truth, allowing you to recalibrate your trust and invest your energy in those who can genuinely celebrate your ascent. Number 4. The Saboteur's Whisper, Misleading Guidance. Be wary of the person whose advice consistently, if subtly, leads you toward complication, trouble, or failure. They present their guidance under the cloak of helpfulness and experience, but the path they recommend is littered with hidden pitfalls. They might encourage you to make a rash financial decision, to pick an unnecessary fight with an authority figure, or to abandon a promising project right before it bears fruit. Their counsel feels slightly off, appealing to your ego or your impatience rather than your reason. This is the Saboteur's Whisper, a form of covert aggression designed to handicap your progress while maintaining the appearance of a supportive friend. Their goal is to see you stumble, to keep you from rising too far above them, all while being able to say, "I was only trying to help." Carl Jung would argue that this is a manifestation of a deeply destructive impulse rooted in the saboteur's shadow. This person is threatened by your potential. Your upward trajectory creates a psychological imbalance they cannot tolerate. Unconsciously, they feel that your success will somehow annihilate them or expose their own mediocrity to the world. So they become agents of chaos in your life, planting seeds of bad advice to ensure you remain on their level or below. This isn't necessarily a conscious mustache-twirling plot. It's often a deeply ingrained unconscious compulsion. They are projecting their own fear of success and their own self-destructive tendencies onto you, guiding you toward the very failures they inflict upon themselves in their own lives. The Stoic mind, grounded in logic and self-reliance, treats all external advice as mere data, not as a directive. You listen, you analyze, but the final decision is always filtered through your own rational judgment and internal compass. You recognize that the ultimate responsibility for your life's navigation rests solely with you. Number 5. The phantom competitor, unspoken rivalry. With this person, every aspect of life is transformed into an unspoken competition that you never agreed to enter. You mention you've started a new workout regimen. They immediately detail their more intense, more advanced routine. You buy a new tool. They have one that is more powerful or more exclusive. You share a simple life joy. They counter with a story that positions their life as more exciting, more meaningful, or more challenging. This is not a friendly exchange. It is a relentless campaign of one-upmanship fueled by a desperate need to feel superior. They cannot exist in a state of equal footing. Your very presence, your independent existence as a successful man, triggers a deep-seated insecurity within them that compels them to constantly measure, compare, and assert their dominance in this phantom contest. This behavior reveals a personality with a fragile and externally defined sense of self, a concept Carl Jung explored through the persona. This person's identity is not built on a solid foundation of internal self-worth. Instead, it is a flimsy construction, a persona, that is wholly dependent on being perceived as better than others. They are trapped in a constant state of comparison because without that external validation of superiority, they feel they are nothing. You are not a friend to them. You are a measuring stick. They are not engaging with you. They are performing for an imaginary audience, trying to win a game only they are playing. The Sigma male, whose sense of worth is internally generated, views this behavior with detached pity rather than competitive anger. You refuse to enter the ring. You give their one-upmanship no energy, no reaction. Your stoic indifference is the ultimate defeat for the phantom competitor, as it denies them the very reaction they so desperately need to validate their fragile ego. Number 6. Contempt's mask, sarcasm as weaponry. There is a form of humor that isn't humor at all. It is contempt wearing a jester's motley. It's the constant biting jokes aimed directly at your core identity, your ambitions, your passions, your character. Still tinkering with that little business idea? They'll sneer, or reading another one of those philosophy books, trying to think your way out of your problems. When you show a flicker of offense, they immediately retreat behind the coward's shield. Wow, relax, it was just a joke, or you're way too sensitive. This is not comedy. It is a systematic campaign to belittle you, disguised as banter. Each joke is a carefully aimed dart, intended to inflict a small wound, to slowly bleed your confidence and passion under the guise of acceptable social interaction. The goal is to make you feel foolish for the very things that give you meaning and drive. Carl Jung's theory of the shadow offers a perfect lens through which to view this behavior. The sarcasm is a direct projection of the other person's shadow. They are attacking in you the very qualities they have repressed, abandoned, or despise within themselves. They mock your ambition because they are haunted by their own inaction. They mock your quest for knowledge because they are terrified of their own ignorance. The joke is the socially sanctioned vehicle, the persona, that allows them to express this deep-seated self-loathing and hostility without taking responsibility for it. They are not laughing with you. They are using laughter to mask a snarl of contempt. A man with a stoic framework does not become sensitive or defensive. He simply sees. He recognizes the joke for what it is, a confession of their inner turmoil and a desperate attempt to pull him down. By refusing to show a reaction, you rob the weapon of its power and leave the attacker standing alone with their own bitterness. Number 7. The gossip vector, reputation warfare. When a person cannot face you directly, they may resort to the most cowardly form of warfare, gossip. You begin to notice a subtle shift in your social or professional circles. People who were once warm are now distant. You hear distorted versions of your own stories whispered back to you. Your intentions are consistently and negatively misinterpreted by people you haven't even spoken to. This is the work of the gossip vector. This individual is engaging in strategic character assassination, poisoning the well of your reputation behind your back. They understand that perception can become reality, so they work in the shadows to paint a false narrative of who you are, isolating you and damaging your social capital without ever leaving a fingerprint on the weapon. It is the ultimate act of passive aggression, driven by an envy so potent it cannot risk a direct confrontation. This is a profound externalization of the person's own shadow, as Carl Jung would describe it. Unable to confront the darkness within themselves, their jealousy, their sense of inferiority, their malice, they project it entirely onto you. They create a caricature of you that embodies all the negative traits they cannot accept in themselves, and then they warn others about this monstrous version of you. In effect, they are describing their own shadow to the world, but attaching your name to it. They are not talking about you. They are confessing their own inner state through the act of gossip. The Stoic man understands that another person's tongue is outside of his control. He cannot stop the whispers. What he can control is his own character. He focuses on living a life of such integrity and clarity that the lies eventually collapse under the weight of his observable reality. He wastes no energy chasing rumors, knowing that his actions will always speak louder and more truthfully than the coward's whispers. 8. The puppeteer's concern. Control in sheep's clothing. This tactic is insidious because it masquerades as love and care. It almost always begins with the phrase, "I'm only telling you this because I care about you." What follows is not gentle guidance, but a harsh critique of your life choices, your relationships, or your career path. Their concern is a Trojan horse for control. Their advice consistently aims to steer you toward a safer, smaller, more conventional life, a life that is more manageable and less threatening to them. After an interaction with them, you don't feel supported. You feel diminished, questioned, and filled with doubt about your own judgment. The goal of the puppeteer is not to see you thrive on your own terms, but to make you dependent on their approval and validation. This is a desperate attempt by an individual with a weak ego to exert control over their environment, and you are a part of that environment. Their own life likely feels chaotic and unmanageable to them on an unconscious level. By micromanaging your life, they gain a temporary and illusory sense of order and power. Carl Jung taught that a healthy psyche requires a balance between the conscious ego and the vast unconscious. The puppeteer is terrified of this balance. They live in the narrow confines of their conscious ego and seek to control everything externally to avoid the terrifying work of confronting their own inner chaos. Your independence, your willingness to take risks and walk your own path, is a terrifying reminder of their own lack of inner control and freedom. Your autonomy is the primary threat. The stoic, self-directed man recognizes this pattern immediately. He accepts their words as an expression of their fear, not as a valid assessment of his life, and continues to steer his own ship with unshakable resolve. 9. The Micro-Betrayal, Withheld Support. Actions speak infinitely louder than words, but sometimes inaction screams the truth. The micro-betrayal is the consistent pattern of withheld support at crucial moments. When you're facing a genuine crisis and reach out, they are suddenly overwhelmed or too busy. When you achieve a major victory and look for them to share in the celebration, you receive a single, tepid text message hours later. Their presence is conditional, performative, and conspicuously absent when it truly matters. This is not the flakiness of a disorganized person. It is a passive but powerful statement about your place in their life. It is a deliberate withholding of the emotional energy and support that defines a true alliance. They are present for the good times when it costs them nothing, but vanish the moment a genuine investment is required. This pattern reveals a profound emotional immaturity and a fundamentally self-centered psychological structure. From a Jungian perspective, this person may be trapped in a narcissistic or pure eternus, eternal child archetype, unable to move beyond their own needs and desires. They lack the psychological depth required for genuine empathy and reciprocity. Their emotional resources are entirely dedicated to servicing their own ego, leaving nothing for others, especially when another's needs or successes might temporarily eclipse their own. They cannot give what they do not possess. For the observant man, this pattern of micro-betrayals is not a series of disappointments. It is a clear and undeniable data stream. It provides an accurate map of the other person's emotional limitations. The Stoic response is not to demand more than they are capable of giving, but to accept this truth, adjust your expectations to zero, and cease investing your own valuable emotional energy into a barren relationship. 10. The body never lies. Silent screams. Finally, if you wish to see the truth, ignore their words and watch their body. The conscious mind is a masterful liar, but the unconscious, which governs our physiology, always tells the truth. This is the most reliable sign of all. Watch for the micro-expressions, the fleeting sneer of contempt that flashes across their face before a forced smile, the momentary widening of eyes in shock at your success, the subtle lip curl of disgust. Notice the physical dissonance, the stiff, rigid posture when you enter a room, the arms that cross defensively when you speak of your accomplishments, the way they angle their body away from you even while engaged in friendly conversation. Feel the energy in a handshake. Is it a connection or a contest of dominance? These are not random tics. These are silent screams from their shadow self. Carl Jung dedicated his life to understanding the vast, powerful realm of the unconscious. He knew that what is repressed in the psyche must find an outlet, and the body is often its primary channel of expression. The person harboring secret animosity can use their persona to say all the right things, but they cannot stop their unconscious from broadcasting its true feelings. That feeling you get in your gut, that sense of unease or tension when you are around them, that is not paranoia. That is your own highly evolved intuition picking up on the dissonant frequencies they are emitting. It is your nervous system reacting to the primal truth of their hostility, a truth that their words are trying desperately to conceal. For the Sigma male who lives by perception and truth, this is the ultimate signal. Trust the body. Trust the energy. It is the unvarnished, unfiltered truth of the soul, and it will never, ever lie to you. The world is filled with noise and deception. Your task is not to become cynical, but to become a master of perception. These signs are not indictments to be thrown at others, but tools for your own clarity and protection. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward neutralizing their toxic influence and reclaiming your sovereign mental space. This is the kind of deep, unflinching analysis we are committed to at Sigma Male Community. It is a fortress built on awareness, psychological insight, and the unshakable principles of self-mastery. If you are committed to walking this path, to seeing the world as it truly is and building an impenetrable inner citadel, then subscribe and join the conversation. Do not just watch the world, understand it, see the truth, protect your energy, and continue to build your own reality.